Thank you so much for being here during the August challenge. So you might wonder, why am I doing this August challenge? Well, the main reason why is because I want people to understand that once a week yoga is not enough. You need yoga more than once a week to really make it work for your body. Many of you here do yoga with me more than once a week. And this is a challenge to those who don't do yoga more than once a week to try to do it. Other thing, I always send you a video after class now. So even if you don't come to my live virtual class, you can always look at the recorded class another day during the week to keep you going. And in my opinion, 3 times a week is really optimal for yoga. It'll get your body going, keep it going, keep you young, keep you agile, keep you healthy. So I think I'm going to have a lot of Amazon gift cards to give out at the end of the month. It looks like to me a lot of you have a good start already. We're going to practice our Ujjayi breath. And before I do, let me just do one thing up here. Okay. Everybody still good? I had to adjust my screen. So Ujjayi breath means victory breath. It is a type of breathing that is used quite often during yoga practice when you're holding poses. It helps you regulate your breath. It makes you focus on your breath because you're able to hear your breath, and then you don't concentrate so much on the agony of holding a pose, but you're concentrating on your breath. So the Ujjayi breath is audible, like a snore. You rest the tongue on the roof of your mouth, breathe in and out of your nose, and close off your glottis, which is an area in the back of your throat. So as you inhale, you'll feel like you're doing a slight snoring sound. And then when you exhale through your nose, it's going to sound like a Darth Vader, like an echoing Darth Vader in a mask. Inhaling, slight snoring. Exhaling, Darth Vader. Try it a couple of times on your own. Inhaling long, deep, full. And if you want to take a tiny pause in between your inhale and exhale, do that. This breath also encourages you to lengthen your exhalations, which calms you. And when you can hear your breath so well, you can see how it could have a mindful effect on holding your poses because you're concentrating on your breath. So there'll be several times during the class today will remind you to maybe use your Ujjayi breath. Okay. Let's close our eyes and take one big, big, deep belly breath all the way down to your belly. And now exhale through pursed lips, long and slow. And I shall open with my greeting. Om Balu Satguru Bhagavan Ki, the divine is the inner teacher. I want to show you one little trick. Normally, I've been teaching everybody, telling you now for as long as you've been with me that mouth breathing is toxic. You want to always breathe in and out of your nose, but there's a couple of exceptions. One exception is if you want to cool down. Now, not everybody can do this with their tongues, but if you can curl your tongue like that, you can curl your tongue like that, and you breathe in through that curled tongue. It's like a straw, and that tunnels the breath and cools the breath and cools your body. So I'm telling you that because it's so hot outside, and we tend to get heated in this humidity. So if you can do the cooling breath, that's how you do it. Okay, we'll start in staff pose, Dandasana. Have your blocks handy and your belt handy. your strap. And staff pose is where your legs are out in front of you. You can be sitting on your bolster if you like, because it'll enable you to keep a little bit taller spine. Your toes are up, your knees are up, and your pelvis is tilted forward so that you have a little arch in your lower back. Your body is in an L shape, 90-degree torso to the legs, and your head is right on top of the shoulders. Shoulders is down from your ears. If you drag your heels towards you a little bit on the sticky mat, you'll feel your muscles in your legs engage. And really hold your belly in as you think about the crown of your head reaching up to the heavens. And take a couple of deep breaths here, a couple of ujjayi breaths maybe will be good here. Okay, take your strap and wrap it around the balls of your feet. Now the strap is an extension of your arms, basically. So you may or may not need the strap depending on your flexibility of your hamstrings and your hips. This is going to be a big hamstring stretch here. So one hand on each strap, micro bend in your knees. You don't want to lock your knees, but you want your legs straight. And then get that tall spine going first before you do anything else. Just hold on to the straps with your hands. Get that tall spine, crown of your head up. And your lower back is in a neutral lumbar curve. Okay, so now coming from your hips, you're going to lean your chest forward without collapsing your back. So you might only be able to go 2 or 3 inches like this, or you can go a little bit further. Go slowly and do your ujjayi breaths, and maybe you'll find you can loosen up more in your hamstrings to go a little bit deeper every breath. Make sure that your head stays in line with your spine, that you're not dropping your head or craning your neck upward. Ujjayi breath, ujjayi breath. And as long as you can keep your spine long and straight and not collapse your back, just keep on coming down. Some people may not need to use the belt even. You can just hold on to your feet. But it's not a contest of how far down you can go. This is a big stretch to your hamstrings and your hip flexors. A couple more ujjayi breaths here. Relax into this stretch. This is still a warm-up stretch, so you don't want to go too extreme here. Slowly release your feet or your strap. Put the strap aside for a moment. Return upright into your Dandasana, and then bend your right knee and bring it in towards your groin area. Take your left arm and hook it around that knee. Keep your left foot up, knee straight, foot flexed, pointing up. Inhale, right arm forward. Exhale, twist all the way around to the right. Plant your right hand behind you on the mat. Then use that hand to keep your spine vertical while it's twisting. And a couple of ujjayi breaths here will allow you to get deeper in the pose. Every time you exhale, think about twisting a little bit more. Your left arm is being used as leverage to help you twist. Think about the left ribs coming around to the right side of your body. Make sure that your left foot stays flexed and pointed up. A couple more breaths here. One more deep breath in. And as you exhale, come back to center. Walk the right foot out a little bit, keeping the knee bent. And then walk the left foot out a little bit, keeping it straight. Now we're going to turn our body so that our chest is over the left thigh and your arm is going to be on the inside of your right leg. And then plant your hands on either side of your leg here. Now, you can also use blocks on either side of your leg. Blocks are an extension of your arms also. The strap and blocks are basically an extension of your arms. And And when you get your hands down on the blocks or the mat, you're going to coax your chest down toward that thigh, but you want to keep your spine long. So don't collapse your back and don't crunch your shoulders up. Keep your spine long. Think about the crown of your head shooting up and forward. And you want that neutral lower back arch in order to feel your lower back stretch. So this is a hip opener, a back stretch, and a hamstring stretch, all wrapped up into one pose. This is called a modified Janu Sirsasana. Make sure there's a micro bend in that knee. We're going to do a different version of this in a little bit. A couple more Ujjayi breaths here. And then slowly come back up. And now straighten both legs wide. Your feet are going to be off your mat, which is fine, unless you want to turn your mat. It's up to you, but it's okay to have your feet off the mat as long as your feet are comfortable, your heels are comfortable. And reestablish the length in your spine here. So you want to tilt your pelvis forward, long spine, neutral lumbar curve. Your feet are up, your knees are up, but your knees are not locked, okay? So there is a teeny little bend in your knees here. And then if you want to take a block in front of your body, go ahead and do that, because we're going to bring our chest forward. And sometimes the block can help you do that, or you can just walk your hands forward. Now, again, it doesn't matter how far down you go here. What really matters is keeping the integrity of your spine, keeping your head in line with your spine so that there's one straight line of energy from the crown of your head to your tailbone. You want to keep that lower back in a slight arch as you bring your chest down. Keep your legs straight, keep your feet pointing up and your knees pointing up. And your Ujjayi breaths here will help you get a little deeper in the pose. If your heels are not on something slippery, you can drag your heels towards you to engage the muscles. Engaging the muscles in your legs just help tighten, helps protect the knees. A couple more breaths here. So if you're hyper flexible, and this is really easy to do, it's sort of important to engage your muscles because you don't want to just be hanging out in your tendons and ligaments. Your muscles are what protects your body, your bones, your joints. So you want to make sure your muscles are engaged. And then slowly walk your hands back up or walk your block back up. Put it aside for the moment. And then sit upright. This is called Upavista Konasana. Upright, wide angle pose. Take your left palm down on the mat beside your right palm, sorry, on the mat beside your right hip. Left arm up. And then we're going to lean over to the right, bringing the left arm beside our ear, keeping our shoulder up. Don't allow it to come forward. Ujjayi breath here. Okay, reach up with your left hand all the way back up and then come down. Inhale, open arms in the T. Exhale, twist to the right. Take your left hand on the outside of the right thigh. Your right hand goes behind you in a spinal twist once again, except this time we're seated with this wide angle in our legs. Keep your feet flexed, the knees pointing up as you do your Ujjayi breaths here. One breath in, exhale slowly back to center. Take your left hand beside your left hip, right arm up, and then let's lean to the left. Bringing the arm close to the ear, keeping the shoulder pointing up toward the ceiling. Pull up with your right hand, bring it back down. And then inhale, open arms in a T. Exhale, twist to the left. This time the right hand parks on the outside of the left thigh, left hand behind your spine. So you're keeping your spine vertical as you twist. Think about your right rib cage coming around to your left rib cage. Twists are one of the essential yoga poses that you should be doing every day. I have 7 of them. This is one of them. One essential, any kind of twist, legs together, legs apart. Inhale and exhale slowly back to center. All right. Now walk your right leg back in a little bit and then bend your left knee and bring the left knee in towards your groin. You want to walk, you want to still have a V between your legs here, because we're going to now turn our body over to the right thigh, place a hand on either side of the right thigh, and then walk our chest down. Keep the foot flexed. If the foot's on a sticky mat, you can drag the heel towards you to help engage the muscles. Long spine, keep the head in line with the spine as you breathe. Big, deep Ujjayi breaths. So Mike and Kimberly, you might be able to hear each other breathing Ujjayi breaths, but if you were in a large classroom, you would probably only hear the person right next to you, if that. So it's not a very loud breathing, but it's loud in your head. And then come back up. Now walk the foot all the way back into center, your right foot, and then the left foot comes back into center, and reestablish your long spine again. You can maybe hold on to your shin to pull your chest forward and up. Get that pelvic tilt, and the lower back is arched. Inhale, right arm forward, wrap it around your leg, and then take your left arm forward, inhale, exhale, twist to the left and park your left hand behind you. Keeping your spine vertical. A couple of Ujjayi breaths here. Inhale, exhale, slowly come back to center. Extend the leg long, back to staff pose, Dandasana. Okay. All right, think about the crown of your head going up. Inhale, bring your arms in a T. Exhale, twist to the right. Keep your arms now up, parallel to the ground. Keep your feet flexed, drag your heels towards you to engage the muscles. Think about your left ribs coming around to the right side, and a couple of Ujjayi breaths here as you keep your arms parallel to the mat. Make sure your shoulders stay down from your ears. Inhale. Exhale, come back to center, arms back down. Inhale, arms in a T. Exhale, twist to the left. Keep your arms parallel. So as you twist here, your right hip will come forward slightly. That's okay, so your sacrum is moving in the twist as well. But you really want to think about twisting your ribs, the rib cage around. And the least important thing to twist is your head. Inhale, exhale back to center, and then the arms come down. So grab your strap again, and we'll do a different version of Janu Sirsasana. Bend your right knee. Janu Sirsasana means head to knee pose. It's how that's interpreted, head to knee pose, but we don't get our heads down to the knees no matter what, at least not these days. So if you want to support your knee with a block, grab a block. What we're going to do is take the sole of our right foot into the inner thigh of our left leg and open the thigh outward. So if your knee bothers you hanging out here or in midair, that's what the block is for, is just to support the knee. And you want to tilt your pelvis forward once again so that you have the neutral spine. Walk your left leg out just so it's a little bit of a diagonal to your body. And then take the strap and place it on the left ball of your foot. Then turn your torso so that your chest is over the left thigh. And then using the strap as an extension of your arms, you're going to bring your chest down. A couple of ujjayi breaths here. Make sure the knee doesn't lock. Head to knee pose. Head keeps in line with the spine. The spine stays long. And then very slowly come back to center. Remove the belt. Straighten both legs back into Dandasana. Reestablish your L shape in your body. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Point your fingertips up toward the heavens. Exhale, float your right hand down, and then we're going to lean over to the right. Couple of deep breaths here. Pull up with your left hand. Inhale, exhale down. And then both arms up back to Urdhva Hastasana. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, left hand floats down. Right arm beside the ear. Keep the shoulder up, pointing toward the ceiling. Make sure you're paying attention to your feet. Make sure they're staying flexed and your knees are pointing up and not locking. Inhale, pull up. Exhale, down. Okay, now we'll bend the left knee. Open the knee out to the side and as necessary, support the knee with the block. We want to keep our knees happy. And then walk your right leg out slightly to the side. Grab your strap on the ball of your foot. So you're twisting and then coming forward. So this is a twisting forward bend. And ujjayi breath here. Every time you exhale, maybe get a little bit deeper. Make sure your head stays in line with the spine. Don't collapse your back. Don't collapse your shoulders. Keep your shoulders erect and down from your ears. Chest forward. And then slowly back up. Remove the belt. And remove the blocks if you're using them. And please come sitting on your mat without a bolster. We're going to do a little bit of core work. I'm going to sit sideways so you can see what we're doing. So we're going to start just sitting with our knees bent, feet flat on the mat. And then grab your hands behind your thighs and just pull your chest forward and up so you can feel your pelvis tilting forward. Feel your lower back stretch and arch. Make sure your head stays in line with the spine. A long line of energy, crown of the head to your tailbone. A couple of ujjayi breaths here. Shoulders are down from your ears. Okay, now keeping the long back and the neutral spine, see if you can lean back and lift your toes off the mat. And then keeping a hold behind your thighs and your strong back, engage your abdominal muscles really, really tight. Maybe you can balance on your sacrum and keep holding on your legs as you lift your feet so that your calves become parallel to the ground. And your head is again in line with the spine. Your spine is nice and long. If you feel good here, you can release your thighs, but you still get quite a workout holding on to your thighs. Breathe, breathe, breathe. This is really where the ujjayi breath comes in handy. Holding this. And then bring your feet back down. And then round your spine as you hug your knees into your chest. So now your spine is in a C shape to release. So that was called easy boat pose, but there's nothing easy about it if you ask me. So now come on back down all the way onto your forearms with your fingers pointing toward your feet. Your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Now tilt your pelvis forward again to put that arch in your lower back, not an exaggerated arch, just a neutral arch. And then keep your head in line with your spine. Lean back onto your forearms and raise your legs to about eye height or higher. And then we'll scissor our legs with breath. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. 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 Bring your knees back down to the mat. Push it up. Round your spine. Hug knees to the chest. Okay, that's enough of that core work for now. Although everything we do in yoga challenges the core. Let's come to our table position with your blocks. And I want to show you how to do a downward facing dog using blocks. This comes in handy, especially as you age and you start getting arthritis in your thumbs or your wrists. This also elevates the front end of your body so that you can push more weight to the back end of your body, because that's most people's challenge with downward dog is we put too much weight in our hands, and that's why we can't hold the pose for very long. So how your blocks are at an angle and your thumb is sort of hugging the block like that. And your fingers, your middle finger is pointing forward with the blocks at a slight angle. So it's a grip that it should feel comfortable on your fingers and your wrist. And then walk your knees back a little bit so you have an extension to your arms. You're going to tuck your toes under and then lift into your downward facing dog. And adjust the distance between your feet and your hands accordingly to your own body. You should be able to keep a straight spine with bent knees, or a straight spine with straight legs, but bent knees usually keeps your spine longer. Your head is melting between your arms. Your thighs are rotating inward. You're pushing your forearms toward each other. And Ujjayi breath. And then bring your knees down. So nobody ever believes me that if eventually downward facing dog becomes a resting pose for you. If you practice it all the time and you do it properly all the time, well, you don't have to do it properly all the time, but you will do it properly eventually all the time. You'll get better and better at it, and you will love this pose as a resting pose. All right, from here, we're going to take one leg, and you can keep your hands on your blocks if you like. We're going to bring it up. So you pick up your foot, it doesn't matter which one. And just bring it between your hands, and then tuck the opposite foot, toes under, lift the knee up. And then we're going to stand up. So you're going to take your hands off of the floor or the blocks, shift your weight forward and stand up. Very good. That is something we're going to do for the rest of our lives. It's really important to be able to stand up without holding on to anything. So I like to practice it. Stand in Tadasana, mountain pose. Take a couple of breaths. Now, take one block, put it between your thighs, the skinny way, and then bring the other block and hold it in your hands, like so, the wide way. So now reestablish, make sure your toes are pointing forward, and obviously you have to squeeze your thighs toward each other to hold the block there, right? So this action of squeezing the block is what your Tadasana legs should feel like without the block. This is also what your downward dog legs should sort of feel like, is rotating the thighs inward as if you were squeezing something between your thighs. You're going to hold the block in front of you with your hands on the sides like this. And then inhale, pushing your hands together on the block. Reach all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana with the block. Reach up as far as you can without crunching your neck. You want to make sure your arms are coming out of the arm sockets. Keep your head on top of your shoulders, belly sucked in, and breathe several Ujjayi breaths here. Keep squeezing the block. The harder you squeeze the block, the more you're going to work your muscles in your arms and your shoulders. Ujjayi breath. Okay, very slowly release down and then remove the block. Place the blocks down and reestablish your Tadasana. See if you can replicate that feeling in your legs without the block. Okay, so we're going to circle our necks around in a clockwise position. Take a deep breath here. Exhale, bring your chin to your chest. Inhale as you drag your chin over to the right shoulder and then start looking up over the right shoulder. And then gaze up to 12 o'clock as you move your head backwards. And then exhale as you come down over the left shoulder, all the way back to center. And then repeat, inhaling up the right side of the clock, up to 12, exhaling down the left, back to center, pause here, and then we'll go the opposite way. Inhale as you drag your chin up the left, all the way up to 12, exhale down, inhale up again, and then exhale coming down on the right side, back to center, and then head comes back up. Okay, take a deep breath. Exhale, bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Take your right hand, place it on the left side of your head above the ear. Now don't be pulling on your head, you're just resting your hand there, just for a little bit of weight on the head. And then take your left arm and bring it out to a diagonal from your body. And then push your left fingertips away so you can feel the stretch enhanced all the way down your neck. And then breathe. One more deep breath. And then release your hand from your head, bring your arms back to Tadasana. And we'll do the other side. Inhale, exhale, left ear to left shoulder, left hand comes on top of the head. And then right arm goes out in a diagonal, push your fingertips away and feel how that enhances the stretch. And breathe. Release, come back up, return to Tadasana. So all this time, your legs should have been engaged. Your muscles in your legs should be engaged by the imaginary block between your thighs. And you want your legs straight, but you don't want to lock your knees. Now take your fingers and lace them together, and then bring them behind your head with the base, with your thumbs at the base of your skull. Open your elbows out to the side as wide as you can so that you're really stretching your chest open. You're bringing your shoulder blade points together on your back. Inhale. Exhale, you're going to bend laterally to the right, keeping your shoulders open as far as you can. Slowly back to center. Inhale. Exhale, laterally bend to the left. Elbows wide apart, chest open. Back to center. Release, bring your arms down, return to Tadasana for a moment. And now take your fingers, take your left palm forward, your right palm facing you, and clasp your fingers together like so. And then you're going to bring your arms up over your head so that the back of your right hand is up. And you're going to turn your head to the left and bring your left arm right in front of your left ear, bending your left elbow so that it's resting behind your head. And then you're going to lean over to the right so that your right hand is like pulling your left arm with it. Big shoulder stretch. And then slowly up to center. And now we're going to switch the hands. So now the right palm is facing you and the left palm is facing up. And then the right arm is now going to come to in front of the right ear. So turn your head toward the right, bring the right arm up in front of your right ear, then hug the arm around you as you pull with your left arm. You might be getting some static right now because I'm on my earpiece. And then slowly release back to center. Back to Tadasana. Okay. Take your hands on your thighs, bend your knees, and we're going to do a standing cat pose. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, curl your spine backwards and bring your chest to your chin. Push your tailbone down, your knees are going to slightly bend, and feel how your vertebra is opening in your back. And then inhale, bring your chest forward, push your tailbone back, straighten your knees. So this is a standing cow pose. You're extending your spine long. You have a banana back right now. And then exhale back to your flexion, your cat pose, tailbone down, chin tucked. Feel your vertebra open. And then inhale as you extend your spine long. Pull your shoulders back from your ears, tailbone back, forehead forward. And then come all the way back up, Tadasana. We'll do some swinging chairs with tiptoes. So bring your arms up to Urdhva Hastasana, inhale. And then exhale, come onto your tippy toes. Okay, take a deep breath. Bring your heels down, come into chair pose. Inhale here. Exhale, swing your arms behind you, chest comes down toward your thighs, and your fingertips are pointing up to the ceiling, palms facing each other. And then inhale as you swing your arms back in front of you, back to chair. And then all the way back up, Urdhva Hastasana. And then once more on tiptoes. Okay, inhale. Exhale, heels down. Inhale, exhale, chair. Inhale, exhale, swing the arms behind, chest comes down toward your thighs, fingertips pointing up. Inhale, swing your arms forward, back to the chair. And then slowly keep rising up, back to Urdhva Hastasana. One more time on tiptoes. Inhale, exhale, heels down. Inhale, exhale, chair. Inhale, exhale, swing behind. Inhale, swing forward into chair, and then slowly rise up. Inhale, reach up, and then arms in a T, and then come back to your heart center into Anjali Mudra. And then back to Tadasana. So I want to work on our 3 warrior poses, warrior 1, warrior 2, and warrior 3. And maybe if we have time, we'll stick in one more warrior pose, but these are the 3 basics. So from a standing position, step your right foot back about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 feet, and you're gonna be hip width distance apart in your feet. So your back foot is gonna be at a diagonal. You're gonna bend your front knee, and you're on railroad tracks, so your feet are apart hip width. So you want to make sure in warrior 1 that you don't, or anytime really, you don't want to bring your knee forward of the ankle like that because it's going to hurt the knee. So you want to keep it either above the knee or even behind the knee at a slight bend like that. And so you might have to adjust the width of your stance to get it that way. Start with your hands on your hips and think about bringing that right hip forward. Put weight into that back foot, which is at an angle. So equal weight in both feet. So your hips won't be all the way forward, but your chest is all the way forward. Think about the tailbone going down so you're not arching your lower back overly. And then the arms come forward and then up beside your ears. And Ujjayi breath. And if you have balance, you can gaze up between your palms and lean backwards slightly even. Ujjayi breath. Think about that front knee being stable. Don't allow the knee to fall in. Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath. Victory breath. This pose is called Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Okay, one more deep Ujjayi breath. And then exhale, bring your hands down, back to your hips. And then step forward, back to Tadasana. So now I want to do, before we go to the other side, Warrior 1, I want to do Warrior 2 on the same side so you can see the difference here. I also want to mention that warrior poses are so named not to condone war or violence, but it's so named to fight the battle within you. You're at a war with your own ego. Your ego and your mind chatter gets in the way of your divine bliss. So that's why warrior poses are named warrior poses. So this time we're going to step our right foot back, but we're going to be on a balance beam so that the right arch is in line with your front heel. So from railroad tracks in Warrior 1 to balance beam Warrior 2. And you're also going to bend your front knee again. But once again, widen your stance enough so that your knee doesn't extend forward of your ankle. It stays above or behind the ankle. So your chest and your hips are facing the long edge of your mat. You're going to bring your arms up parallel to the mat and turn to look over the middle finger of your left arm. Tailbone goes down so that you're not overarching the back. Make sure that the front knee doesn't fall in. Keep it stable. Think about rotating that thigh outward. And breathe Ujjayi breath here. So your chest is facing the long edge of your mat, even though your head is facing forward. And bring your hands down and then walk back up to the front. And then we'll do Warrior 3 on this side and then move on to the other side. So get your blocks handy in front of you. And we'll do this in stages. Warrior 3 is a balancing pose, a one-legged balance pose, because all the warrior poses are balancing. It takes you balance to do them, but there's two-legged balance and there's one-legged balance. All right, from here, you're going to bend your knees slightly and then bring your hands down to the blocks in front of you. Kick your right leg up behind you and keep your hips level with the ground. So you don't want to cock your right hip open. So think about keeping that right hip down so that if you look between your legs, you could see the toes of your right foot pointing down. Keep there's slight bend in the left leg that'll help you balance. Move the blocks around however you need to feel like you can let go of your left hand and then bring your left arm in front of you. So your left arm, right leg behind. All right, bring your hand down, bring your foot down, and then come back up very slowly for a little break. And then the next piece of that is where we're going to balance, take both hands off the block. And you can just do it in stages. It doesn't have to be extreme. And you can put your arms in front of you or out to the side, airplane. So bend your knees again, come down to the blocks. It's best to start with the blocks at high level. You're gonna shift weight again onto your left foot so that your right leg can go behind you. You're bending your left knee. And now lift your left arm. Find a focal point in front of you. And then maybe you can lift your right hand off the block. You can bend your left knee enough so maybe your belly even rests on it. That's okay. And then the hands come back to your block. The foot comes down, back up to meet the other foot. Slowly rise up. Good. 3 warriors. All right, let's shake everything out and prepare for the other side. Step the left foot back first so that you're on your railroad tracks. Hip width distance apart, back foot slightly at an angle. Front knee is bent. Bring the left hip forward, chest forward. Pay attention to what that front knee is doing. Here's the tendency to let it do that. You don't want to do that. Keep it directly above the ankle. Tailbone down, arms up. Equal weight in both feet. Open your chest. And then look up between your hands if you have balance to do so. And several Ujjayi breaths here. Don't forget about weight on the outside edge of your back foot. Don't forget to stabilize your front thigh. Make sure your neck is not crunched up here. Your shoulders, your arms are coming out of the arm sockets, not your clavicle coming up to your ears. And then bring your hands down. And then step up for a little break. Shake your legs out. So these warrior poses, needless to say, because you can probably feel it now in your legs, they're really, really good for leg strength. And why do you need leg strength? Because it protects your knees. All these muscles we're working now will help you not have to have replacement knees. Okay, left foot back again. This time, heel to arch, so you're back on your balance beam. The right knee's bent. The chest is to the long side of your mat. Arms come up. And you're looking over the middle finger of your right hand. Tailbone down. Keep the right thigh rolling outward to stabilize it. Keep weight on the outside edge of the back foot. Several Ujjayi breaths. So another tendency is you tend to forget about what your back arm is doing. It tends to droop downward. So try to get it to hold up. This is also obviously very good muscle work for your arms, to keep your arms up this long. Breathe. Ujjayi breath, Ujjayi breath, Ujjayi breath. All right, hands come down and go ahead, step up, shake all that out. And then we'll do our warrior 3 on this side. Blocks back in front. Bend the knees, hands come down to the blocks. Kick your left leg back. Level your hips. We'll do this in stages. So again, the tendency is to cock that hip up when you lift that leg. Push that hip bone down so that it's in line with your other hip. Now take your right arm forward. A couple of breaths here. Now even now, just think about lightening up in your left hand. We're going to come up first. So we have a break. The hand comes down and bring your foot back down. And then slowly come up just for a little bit of a break. And then we'll try the balancing part of warrior 3. Virabhadrasana 3. Okay, bend the knees, hands down to the blocks. Left leg behind. Level the hips. Right arm forward. And then just take your time and lifting your left hand off the block, and you bring it in front to match your right arm. Or you can bring both arms out to the sides in airplane. Sometimes that helps you balance better too. And then bring your leg down. Bring it, step it up. And rise up slowly. Okay, we're going to descend down to the mat, and we'll do it through downward facing dog with or without blocks, your choice. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees. Bring your hands down to the mat or your blocks. If you're using blocks, they're at an angle. And then you're going to step your feet back into your downward facing dog. Into the great back stretch. Tailbone up. Chest is melting down. Bring your forearms, squeeze them toward each other. Nice long spine. One deep breath. As you exhale, bring your knees down. And then allow your hips to fall all the way back towards your heels into child pose. If you widen your knees apart, sometimes it's easier to sit back farther onto your heels. And then allow your chest to melt down and take your head either onto the mat or onto the block or a bolster. Just you want to rest your forehead on something because it has a profound effect on your calming your nervous system. And now bring your arms beside your body so your hands are beside your feet, palms facing up. This child pose is a relaxation pose, but it's also a really good stretch to your back. It also keeps your hinges, what I call your hinges, your hips and your knees flexed. Okay, very slowly come up out of child pose. And then please come all the way onto your backs. Knees bent. Feet hip width distance apart. Put a neutral lower back, so there's a teeny little spacing between your lower back and the mat. Lift your right leg up in the air, and then take your fingers, lace them behind your right thigh. Now, if that doesn't work for you, you can use your strap to hold your right thigh up. And what you're going to be doing here is pushing your thigh into your hands as you're pulling your thigh towards you. So it's opposing forces here. You're pushing and pulling at the same time. And in doing so, you're engaging all the muscles. Keep your foot flexed, sole of your foot pointing to the ceiling. Push and pull, push and pull. Don't allow your hip to creep up. So the tendency is to have your right hip wants to come up towards your shoulder. Push that right hip down toward your foot, your left foot, and breathe. Okay, now bend that knee. Take the knee, or take the right ankle, place it on your left thigh. And again, you can use a belt here. We're going to thread our hands through our legs, clasp our fingers behind the right thigh. If that doesn't work for you, you're going to wrap your belt around your right thigh and hold on to your belt, okay? What did I say, right thigh? I meant the left thigh, sorry, I meant the left thigh. And then you lift your left foot off the ground as you bring that thigh toward your chest. You're pushing your right elbow away, your right thigh away as you're pulling your left thigh towards you. And then release your foot back down. Unthread the belt. Bring your arms in a T and keeping your ankle just where it is on top of your left leg. You're going to roll onto your left hip and let that foot land on the left side of your body and try to keep your shoulders flat and open. So your right leg is still, or your left leg is still slightly bent. And then keep your right shoulder down, turn your head to look over the right arm. And then the head comes back to center. The knees come back up, uncross. Left leg up toward the ceiling. Take your fingers or your belt, lace behind your left thigh, and push the thigh away as you pull it towards you. Flex the foot, engage the muscles. Opposing forces, pushing and pulling. Rebend the knee, take the ankle onto the opposite thigh. Either use your belt or your hands to thread behind your left thigh. And then bring your left thigh towards your chest, so your left foot is coming off the mat. I keep on getting this. Your right leg is coming off the mat. You're pushing your left thigh away. And then release, bring your foot back down to the mat. Keep the ankle on the thigh. Bring your arms to a T, palms facing up. And then roll over onto your right hip so that your left foot comes planted on the floor somewhere on that side of your body. You can try to keep your shoulders flat on the mat. Your right leg is still bent, and then turn your head to look over to the left. And bring your head back to center, bring your legs back to center, uncross everything, hug knees into your chest. And then bring your feet back down, straighten your legs long on the mat for Shavasana, our final relaxation pose. Shavasana is a pose that can be used for meditative purposes. It's a resting pose, so you want to be comfortable. You want to put a blanket underneath of your knees to support them. Some people like that. If you put anything underneath your head, don't let it be too high that you're crunching your neck. You want your throat open here. It's best not to have anything underneath your head. But if that doesn't work for you, you can put a little blanket underneath your head to just keep your airway open, your throat nice and open. And then close your eyes. Focus on your breathing. Now, meditation comes in several forms, lots of ways to do it. One way is to focus on imagery. Main thing is you want to get your mind chatter out of your head. That's the main thing. Get rid of that mind chatter. And to help you focus on some imagery, I'm going to read you a poem by Mary Oliver, American poet who is very famous for her imagery in her poems. This one is called Swan. Did you too see it, drifting all night on the Black River? Did you see it in the morning, rising into the silvery air, an armful of white blossoms? A perfect commotion of silk and linen as it leaned into the bondage of its wings, a snowbank, a bank of lilies, biting the air with its black beak. Did you hear it, fluting and whistling, a shrill, dark music like the rain pelting on the trees, like a waterfall knifing down the black ledges? And did you see it Finally, just under the clouds, a white cross streaming across the sky, its feet like black leaves, its wings like the stretching light of the river. And did you feel it in your heart, how it pertained to everything? And have you too finally figured out what beauty is for? And have you changed your life? Please bring your awareness back to your breath. Slowly deepen your breathing as you gently wake up your body, making small movements. Now please bend your knees and roll onto your right side in a fetal position to seal the practice. And by doing so, you're sealing off the masculine side of your body, which is heat, bright, energetic. And you're allowing the cool feminine side of your body, your left side, to be exposed, which is calm, dark, collected, cool. And that's what's going to carry you for the rest of the day. Please very slowly push yourself back to seated. Keep your quiet mind. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Namaste. And Jai Yogis. Jai is victory.